What's up, my peoples, man? It's your boy E here, man. And look, I want to watch this video with you guys. I want you guys to watch this with me, man, because it's very interesting to see, uh, just another angle where someone could, you know, begin to become gang stalked. Just another, another perception of seeing it. So we're gonna watch this guy, and you know, he was one of those content creators from like 2000, 17, 16, 15 or something. You know, when the creators start really getting, start really getting in their bag. Back when the Vine was going on and all that shit. I'm not sure that might have been a little earlier than that, but anyways. So we're watching this cat. You know, he went out to LA. Him and his friend, they went out to LA and got approached, by one of those Hollywood people that be inviting people to these parties and shit like that. And it's crazy what went down. I actually watched this video already. I haven't watched, they have a second part and a third part, and I haven't watched those, so we probably will check those out after this one. But I tried to record this too, maybe a couple times, but for some reason something was wrong to where I couldn't hear the sound on the video. And then there was one part where it was too many, it was like my voice wasn't sounding right, so I had to clean that up. So I'm like, okay, we'll just record this again. I had got a little bit fatigued after doing all that and having all those problems, but I'm back at it, so we're gonna try to get this one cleared today. But anyways, y'all, I want y'all to check this out, man. Just peep this for a second. Oh, let me see.
This other aspiring creator named David. I was much more.
We're gonna go back.
That's the reason I stopped making content for 5 years. You guys remember when all those Vine stars and skit Instagrammers moved to LA in like 2015-ish? So I wasn't a huge creator at the time, but I was there and around it all as all of that stuff was happening. I moved from Chicago to LA 3 weeks after high school with like $2,000 in my pocket that I saved up working at Steak and Shake with this other aspiring creator named David. I was much more into editing and being behind the camera at that time, and he was much more into Vine and vlogs and being on camera. That time of our lives was absolutely crazy. Everybody was broke, posting anything we could onto YouTube to get some attention. I happened to get a spot at the now notorious 1600 Vine Apartments, and David got a spot a little bit closer to USC. Everyone was collaborating with everyone, and it was the era of clickbait YouTube. And to be honest, it was extremely fun for the first few months, until Hollywood started to notice that influencers were the next big thing, and that the landscape of the industry was changing. And we started to get invited to more exclusive parties and events, where it seemed as if old Hollywood was almost grooming new Hollywood. And there was rumors of this one gathering that was happening on a monthly basis, where it seemed like anybody that got invited saw a massive jump in their numbers, secured huge brand deals right after attending. But apparently this gathering worked on a buddy system. Someone had to vouch for you and bring you as a guest. And by blind luck, me and David ended up getting invited. Some talent agents saw me and David shoot a silly skit at a random party. He didn't invite us that second, he just told us that he saw something special in us and took our contact information. And listen, people do that all the time in LA, but this guy had a different feel to him. He wasn't trying to convince us he had connections or hype himself up like everybody else does. He was just super calm and had a sharp way of speaking that demanded respect. He was extremely brief, and after getting our numbers, he just said, "Look out for the invite," and walked away. And this is where it gets weird. I never gave this guy my address. I only gave him my number, but I ended up
Ain't that some weird shit? I mean, how the fuck you know where I stay, right? Like, how the fuck you know where I stay? How you got my address? I would never tell you none of this. That's that stalker shit.
getting an invitation by letter. And at the time, I thought that that was so cool. But in retrospect, as an adult looking back at it, that alone was a huge violation of privacy and a major red flag. But at the time, when I tell you, I was absolutely buzzing with excitement. When I got...
You know what? I can understand how you could think that's cool. Like, damn, like, you know, when you watch these movies and motherfuckers get private invitations to certain things, like the Willy Wonka thing, or like, what's that movie called, the Kingsman, I forgot what it was. One of them motherfuckers, they got invited because of certain talents that they have within them. You know what I'm saying? Out of nowhere, don't even know where this letter came from. You feel me?
At it, the letter was so extravagant and detailed. It was gold with black and red lettering that read something like, "Your talents have been noted, your name has been endorsed, and I'll never forget this part. The dreams you have been chasing are a night away through the seventh heaven." And the address was a beautiful home in Laurel Canyon that was set to happen that weekend. It also noted to not be a minute late and not to expect to leave before midnight. And at the time, if
Through the seven heavens. What does seven heavens mean? The heavens that they create on earth? I don't know. I'm just babbling, I guess.
felt like the Willy Wonka golden ticket. And the excitement doubled when I got a text from David at the same time, in all caps saying, "Did you get one too?" I felt like our lives were about to change. And I was right. David blew up after this party, and I had to go into hiding. I felt like our lives were about to change. And I was right. David blew up after this party, and I had to go into hiding. When I tell you I was on cloud 9 leading up to that party, I mean it.
And look, just think about it. It's him and David. Him and David. Just remember that. Him and David. One who had blew up after the fact, and one who had to go into hiding.
I was so young and naive and delusionally optimistic. I truly believed that I was gonna go to this party and leave rich, because it literally seemed like that was happening to the creators around me that attended. I was hyped. I've never been a braggy person, but when you're young and excited, you get consumed by good news and want to talk to your friends and peers about it. So everybody that I chatted with who I knew was a content creator and was in the know about this party, I couldn't help but to tell them. And all the feedback was positive and along the lines of, "Let me know how it goes," or "Can you try to get me into the next one?" And even some from bigger creators saying, "I'll see you there," with like a little smirk on their face. Like they were pumped for me. Except for one conversation with a creator that most of you probably know. This creator is an extremely positive guy, and he's one of the most wholesome, bubbly, genuine guys I met out there. And when I told him the good news, he looked at me like I told him a tsunami was headed towards the building. The usual joy that this man brought to every conversation turned into real fear and concern. And he made me leave the lobby and come up to his apartment before explaining anything to me. Like he was scared that somebody was gonna overhear our conversation. When we got up to his
Damn. Don't that sound familiar though? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure we've all been, as targeted people, we've all been in a position where we thought people was hearing us and shit, and we thinking that we can hide and try to talk softly somewhere sometimes. I mean, I'm pretty sure those of you who've been there, you know what I mean. But
apartment, he was just pacing like he had no idea how to start this conversation. But when he finally spoke up, all he said was, "Listen, Doug, I know you're excited, but I'm begging you, please do not go. That man is not who you think he is." He was being so frantic, and I could see tears welling up in this guy's eyes. But I was young, and I thought that I knew everything. I didn't even think the talent agent that sent us the invite was important. I was interested in the connections, and I didn't really care if the talent agent was shady, or if his intention was to sign me to a bad deal. I thought I'd just say no to any bad contract that he tried to send me, but still get to reap all the benefits of the party. So I tried to pry a little bit and ask follow-up questions, but all he gave me was, "I have a friend who went, and he hasn't been the same since he didn't cooperate. I don't know what."
Sam, you know what? That's crazy though, bro. And see, this is the perfect example of having like an old school, one of your uncles or somebody who's older than you say, "Hey man, you know what? You too damn smart for your own damn good." Like you think you know everything until you realize that you've only scraped the surface of what some things really look like out here. You know what I'm saying? And I know definitely that there were things that I didn't know was going on in this earth until I started to see it my damn self. So I mean, I'm feeling the same way. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Is this some more shit?
What he saw or what they did to him, but Doug, I do not want to see that happen to you. I don't know what he saw or what they did to him, but Doug, I do not want to see that happen to you. I start reassuring him that they won't make me do anything that I don't want to do. I don't even drink, let alone take any party favors. So peer pressure isn't much of an issue for me. I make up a lie to get out of the situation, because to be honest, I selfishly wanted to stay excited about this party. And I really didn't want to hear anything negative about it. So I jokingly told him that I text him when
I can see that. I can see that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just want the best. You just hope for the best. You know what I'm saying? You just hope for things to be great. And so even if somebody is to say something, sometimes you might think that they hating because they see you have because they see you coming up and that you are being invited to certain things, and you so happy and so excited about it that, motherfucker, I don't want to hear you say nothing bad about this. Nigga, this is something I ain't never been to. Like this could be an opportunity for me. You feel me? And not really knowing that, you know, sometimes that red flag was there for a reason. That first red flag you seen, then your friend said something. Yeah, I mean, those are red flags right there. So sometimes we just overlook them because we want things to go according to plan and hope for the best instead of taking that advice or seeing the red flags in certain things and stopping from the beginning before things get any further. You feel me?
I got home and that I had to leave to edit some videos tonight. What I was really doing was calling my dad to beg him for $100 to buy a rental suit. Mind you, we were all still poor and I was living in an apartment that I could barely afford. My dad reluctantly sent me the money and I immediately texted David to pick me up tomorrow at 5 p.m. so we could both get our suits before the party and grab food before we head to the party at 11. When David picked me up the next day, he was so excited and in such a great mood that I had to hide my concerns from him, at least while we were shopping for the rental suits. I had to manufacture excitement because David always has his camera out and I wouldn't just be spoiling the mood, I would be ruining the content that he was trying to record. So I went along with it throughout the shopping process. Our plan was to drop his car off at my apartment, walk to the In-N-Out Burger on Sunset.
Basically, suffering from cognitive dissonance in the moment.
Boulevard, eat, and then change into our suits in the bathroom and hop into the Uber, so we didn't smell like burgers. When we finally sat down to eat, I took that opportunity to bring up the warning that my friend gave me the day before in his apartment. I told him everything that he said to me and how scared he looked when he said it, and that I was feeling a little bit worried about going to this party. David cut me off before I even got to finish my sentence and firmly said we're going, and then went on a rant about how my friend is a jealous clout chaser and that he's just salty that his content isn't good enough and would never be invited to something like this. He said it in a half serious, half joking tone like he always does when he wants to get his way. Then he finished off by guilting me and saying, "Doug, don't ruin this opportunity for us. Please just get through this party for me." I'd never heard anybody talk.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, his friend David, I believe David was already made a decision, to go that extra mile. David might know a little more than he leading on, because David, it's like David, he wants to be there by any means. He wants to be a part by any means. And it wouldn't surprise me, what I'm saying, if David already made up his mind before y'all even got there.
About my friend that way, but I'd known David for so much longer, so I trusted his judgment. So I nodded my head and called the Uber. We changed in the bathrooms and hopped into the Uber, and David starts recording again, so I have to pretend to be excited again. But once we got off the side streets and started driving up Laurel Canyon, I started getting anxious and internally panicking. If you're not familiar with Laurel Canyon, it's filled with beautiful homes, but at night it's extremely dark and borderline freaky, especially when you consider all the history with the Manson murders in that area. Part of me feels like we're
basically that area has a spirit over it already. You know what I'm saying? Spirit, a negative spirit is already covering their grounds. So, damn.
Dropping ourselves off into a setup. But once we arrive, all of my worries get washed away. We pull into the driveway and this house is beautiful and extravagant. And everyone waiting in.
But that's how you get pulled in by the devil. He show you the nice things. He don't tell you all the clause and shit in the contract. He don't show you all the bad things that's going on that you should pay attention for. No, we don't let you see this beautiful shit and wish you could have this forever and ever.
In line to walk in is smiling and laughing and friendly, so I get excited again. At the door, they take our phones and have us sign an NDA, which isn't uncommon in house parties like this in LA. And they give us a mask and a name tag with funny alien.
I'm sorry, I'm finna stopping this like this all the time and get this story through. But see, LA always got NDA type of parties. And I ain't gonna lie, like I said, LA, that's right next to Hollywood. All that shit is connected, bro. All that demonic shit that's going on in that entertainment industry, that music industry, all that shit, man, that shit is all connected, bro. And the fact of the matter is, he was just talking about what did he just say right there? Hold on, see.
An NDA, which isn't uncommon.
Yeah, he was just talking about the NDA. So basically, what I'm saying, if you need an NDA, basically there's something you're trying to hide. Okay, of course, you probably don't want all your businesses out there, but usually I feel like those NDAs are really just for some secret shit. You know what I'm saying? And not the secret shit that, we just think, oh, it's just some freaky shit going on. Nah, man, see, sometimes we don't understand. It's really some real ass demonic shit going on. And that shit, people really be wanting to keep on the low, on the hush because, they don't want you speaking out on the situation. And then if you do, now you're in some sort of legal trouble for even expressing anything. You feel me?
Common in house parties like this in LA. And they give us a mask and a name tag with funny aliases. My mask looked like a bear and David's looked like a bird. My alias was Stardust, which David got a crack out of, and his was Benji. We enter what you could call like the lobby of the house, and as we're walking in, the apparent host of the party starts giving a speech. This man is very eccentric and outspoken, and he's got the cadence of a late night show host, and I spot the agent that invited us standing right behind him. The speech was basically just encouraging everybody to have fun and explaining the itinerary of the night. Apparently this was a themed room party, and all of the guests were instructed to move to the next room whenever the grandfather clock chimed. He wrapped up his speech with some cheeky joke, and then one line that still irks me to this day. He said, "Have fun now. Our descent starts at midnight." I tried to give
Have fun now. Our descent starts at midnight. I mean, and when you talk about descent, that just means lower. So like y'all getting into y'all going into a darker phase of this party at midnight, basically. Is how I am, putting these pieces together. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's midnight is midnight is where where the full moon is fully arise, right? And people start to do these rituals and they witchcraft and shit. That's around the time people start doing that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Makes sense to me.
David the eyes that I didn't like where this party was going. This type of behavior from people that I saw as adults made me extremely uncomfortable. The moment the host wrapped up his speech, a couple of workers came out of the doorway. They were holding a couple sets of long poles. All of a sudden music started playing and everybody seemed like they knew what was going on. So I just went along with it. So I guess these parties start off with a big game of limbo. It's funny seeing people dressed so nicely playing a silly child's game, but it's even weirder seeing A-list celebrities being so excited to play. Because
who are these A-list celebrities? I wonder who the fuck was there though. Like I know it was a few of y'all streamers and things of that nature, but who else was up in that motherfucker? And the thing is, he not gonna tell us on this video. I don't know if he gonna ever tell us. I haven't watched any of the other videos. This is like one of the ones that I have watched, but we are going to go into the other one. But I just wonder, is at the party? Yeah, who there?
everybody had masks on, but when somebody that you grew up watching in movies walks by you with a quarter of their face covered, you still know it's
We do at least know it's somebody in the movies.
them. I was amazed with how inviting and willing to introduce you with a quarter of their face covered. You still know it's them. I was amazed with how inviting and willing to introduce themselves these people were. I was expecting at least an undertone of uppityness in there, but it seemed like everybody was involving everybody in conversation, and they were frequently introducing themselves to me with their alias, of course. The only thing weird about it was something that I didn't notice until the third person did it. When they shook my hand, they pressed their thumb into the soft part between my thumb and my pointer finger, and I only recognized the pattern because the third guy gave me a big smile and said, "This must be your first time here." In retrospect, this should have alarmed me, but it seemed like they got friendlier when they realized that it was my first time here, so I didn't really think anything of it. But
well, you know, the devil ain't gonna come to you like no monster. He'll come to you like a friendly, kind, sweet thing, you know, just to lure you in, just to come a little closer. Come on, man. Look, I got you. Put my arm around you now. Guess what? Now I'm gonna grab your ass. That's how the devil do, man. That's how he work, man. So it definitely makes sense. All of this is lining up perfectly in the sense of how the devil works.
before I got to ask any follow-up questions about this odd handshake, the first grandfather clock chime went off, and everybody excitedly rushed into the second room. When I finally got in there, I was taken aback by the dramatic decor change. Everything in this room was different shades of blue. The music was romantic, and all the furniture was cabana beds and love seats. I stood there for a second trying to realize what was different, but I couldn't put my finger on it until some girl walked by and caressed my shoulder in a really flirty manner. The decor changed, but the way everybody was acting was drastically different. Before, everybody seemed to be outgoing and inviting and friendly, but the second they stepped foot into this room, they became touchy, flirty, and suggestive.
So, all right, we got more than one room that they got to go into as this party goes on. As we know, the first room, everybody was being happy, friendly, playing a little limbo game and all that shit. Second room, temptation. You know, they gradually, now people getting touchy-feely and all lusty and shit. You feel me? So these rooms carry different energies, different spirits within them. So we are going to see the different ways in the different the ways people start to act in these rooms. So let's keep going.
I was only 19 at the time, so this type of behavior from people that I saw as adults made me extremely uncomfortable, especially when I saw that the cabana beds had curtains that you could close for privacy. And I realized that these people weren't just being suggestive, they meant it. I tried to give David the eyes that I didn't like where this party was going, but he seemed to be really enjoying the female attention, so
as you can see, like I said, remember, it's him and David. One person is seeing all the red flags. It's starting to connect dots and start to get these signs that this is not a good thing that we're doing. This is not a good place to be right now. And he's freaking the fuck out throughout the whole process of the party. The other one, which is David, he is consumed and devoured by the whole experience. He is being very much, pulled in and stuck and focused on the party. Like I say, David is he's ready to go the extra mile for what this party is, you know what I'm saying? But, and I just feel like this person here, this dude here, he is somebody God is looking over. God is watching him. God put all of that in him, man, for him to start to see all these signs, start to pay attention to everything that could be wrong about this party, start to have all these different feelings, man. That ain't nothing but God warning him to get your ass up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Your friend gone. He gone. He gone. He has given the green light to step into the dark side.
I was on my own. I basically stayed in perpetual motion and walked laps until the next chime went off. So I didn't have to sit next to anybody for too long and let them get too comfortable. The clock finally went off and everybody rushed to the next room.
Hold on, let's go back so we can hear.
Extremely uncomfortable. Especially when I saw that the cabana beds had curtains that you could close for privacy. And I realized that these people weren't just being suggestive, they meant it. I tried to give David the eyes that I didn't like where this party was going, but he seemed to be really enjoying the female attention, so I was on my own. I basically stayed in perpetual motion and walked laps until the next chime went off. So I didn't have to sit next to anybody for too long and let them get too comfortable. The clock finally went off and everybody rushed to the next room immediately. The weirdest part was the people that were in the private sections didn't even bother redressing except for the mask. I was in no rush to get to the next room, but I could see into it over the crowd of everybody's head. The walls were bright orange, but the smells that were wafting in from that room were amazing. And when I finally got in there, it was like the Hogwarts feast. It was table after table of the most delicious spreads I've ever seen. There was full tables for seafood, full tables for meats, full tables of sushi, and an entire wall of spirits. I almost started enjoying.
Entire wall of spirits. You know what that is. Just alcohol, you know what I'm saying? Entire wall of alcohol. You know how if you ever heard the term, when they call alcohol spirits? Because basically they feel like when you get drunk, you allow certain spirits to come over you, like people do when they get drunk. All type of shit go wild, go left when motherfuckers get drunk. So yeah.
Myself again. Until I saw the way these people were treating this food. They were disrespectfully biting chunks out of delicious prime rib roasts. They were just shoving copious amounts of high-grade sashimi into their mouths and eating caviar like it was cereal. The way that they were just grabbing with their hands and just spitting out things that they didn't like onto the floor ruined my appetite.
It's like they're just showing their savagery, showing the dirty and just and the dirty and disgusting side of them. It's like, yeah, we have a disgusting, dirty side of us. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, barbaric type of energy, if you ask me. But let him keep on telling us the story real quick.
At this point, I wanted nothing to do with these people. So I went up to the only familiar face in the room. The agent that invited me was the only other person not eating. So I approached him and lifted up my mask, so he'd recognize me considering we'd only met one time. Before I even got out my greeting or got my mask halfway off my face, he abruptly pressed my mask back into place and sharply said, "Mask stay on till the 6th room." He did it in a way that seemed like I was embarrassing him for not knowing the rules. So to ease the tension, I joked,
"The mask stay on until the 6th room." Remember that, because we're at room 3 right now, and so we got 3 more rooms to go. So let's just see where we go when we get there.
jokingly replied, "So we're only halfway there, huh?" He didn't laugh or make eye contact. He just dismissively replied, "I encourage you to engage in the festivities. A slow drip is better than a flood." He started to walk towards...
Remember that phrase. A slow drip is better than a flood. Remember that phrase.
the door as the clock chimed for the next room, like he knew it was about to go off. I didn't like that interaction at all. He's the one that invited me here, and he seemed to have no interest in talking to me. I just kept going over what he said the entire time while we were in the next room. This room was yellow and basically just a casino. I wanted to talk to David privately and let him know that I wanted to leave, but he seemed to just be caught up in the momentum of the party. Plus, there was a roulette table in the room, and David's freakishly good at roulette. So at this point, the winning streak that he's building is the center point of the party. I can't fully focus on what the agent said to me because I have to pretend to be excited about David's winning streak in a fake casino where you're not actually winning money. And like clockwork, the chime goes off. The entire party starts rushing to the next room again, and the vibe changes dramatically. I'm the last person to walk into the bright red room. This room didn't seem to have a specific activity like the others. It was just empty and bright red, and everybody was whispering to each other. For a split second, I thought it might be a big game of telephone or something silly like that, but as I started walking through and brushing shoulders with these people and hearing what they were saying to each other, I started questioning everything.
Wait a minute.
It was just empty,
okay,
bright red room.
So, before we go too far, all right. So the fourth room was just a gambling room. So basically, if you ask me, it's like a room where you're gambling with your life right now. You know, like it's almost like them telling you without telling you. You know how they say that, you know, the evils of this world have to tell you what they're doing to you, so that, you know, the universal laws doesn't go against them. You know what I'm saying? Because like, hey, we at least told you what we was gonna do. Just because you didn't do anything about it, it's not our fault. It's like it's like with all these movies and all these things, they basically telling us before without telling us. And just like with this party, like you're fenced to gamble with your life now, so you know, it's almost like a part where they're telling you what's going to happen. So now we're at this red room, which is room 5. Let's see.
This room didn't seem to have a specific activity like the others. It was just empty and bright red, and everybody was whispering to each other. For a split second, I thought it might be a big game of telephone or something silly like that. But as I started walking through and brushing shoulders with these people and hearing what they were saying to each other, I started questioning everything. The same people that I saw laughing and celebrating and eating together were...
Oh, yeah. All right.
We're whispering the most heinous, offensive comments directly.
Let's go back.
Celebrating and eating together. We're whispering the most heinous, offensive comments directly to each other.
So the people that were just eating and speaking to each other are now talking shit to each other, basically, it looks like.
I mean things that you wouldn't even say behind your friend's back. They were sensitive comments directly to each other. I mean things that you wouldn't even say behind your friend's back. They were saying it to their face. I'm talking friendship ending secrets and personal opinions about each other laced with envy and jealousy. I hurried to a quiet corner because I
bet you did. But at the same time, because I can understand, that type of energy will make you be like, what the fuck going on? Yeah, it's going to make you want to be standoffish. But as you can see, this seems like the room where everybody is charging negative energy into each other. You know, throwing all the negative energy and purging all the negative energy on to other people. It's like a whole purge of it. I don't know what the purge is for. Well, no. We'll see what the purge leads up to. Because I do know. I've seen it. But yeah.
I was sick of hearing everybody's dirty laundry after walking around for a minute and a half, and it all clicked. I knew exactly what this party was. I see the host ask the first person in line a question before having them repeat something that he said. When I tell you I am done with this party, I'm absolutely not doing that. All the dots start connecting in my head while everybody's being horrible to each other around me. I'm trying to recap the whole night and remember the order of each room to solidify my suspicions, but the chime for the next room goes off. This time, everybody gets eerily quiet and calm, like They got all of their venom out. The host of the party announces for all of the newcomers to come to the front. All of the attendees form a single file line in front of the next room's door. There's about 10 other newcomers in front of me and David, and the agent that invited us is standing to the left of the door, and the host of the party is standing to the right. The host has a pile of books on the table next to him. I see the host ask the first person in line a question and then grab a book based on his answer. He would present the book to the person and place a diamond-shaped metal symbol on top of it before having them repeat something that he said. Then he...
A diamond-shaped metal symbol. Something like the all-seeing eye or the pyramid or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You know these motherfuckers in high places, they love, I know that they be using that ancient rituals and ancient things that be going on back in the days, man. You know these motherfuckers know all the ancient texts, the Vatican, all that shit. They got all of those ancient texts and things that people used to do back in those days. You know what I'm saying? All that shit is connected. Hollywood is connected to the higher ups. They're connected to the billionaires, the people in power. You know what I'm saying? All that shit is stemmed from them, dog. If you ask me.
Take their mask off and let them enter the next room. I couldn't make out exactly.
And this is the 6th room that they're going to be entering, and this is where they can take their mask off, and you'll see exactly why.
What he was doing until there was only 2 people ahead of me in line. The books were Bibles, Qurans, Torahs, and so on. He would ask the person, and
so the books were all religion-based books, different religion-based books.
Which one is yours? Whichever they chose, he'd grab it and place the metal symbol on top of it. He'd have you put your hand on top of the metal symbol and then repeat, I am my own God, I bow to nobody but myself. When I tell you I am done with this party, and I
bet you are. I bet you are. But as you can see, everybody in this party subscribes to a certain religion. And everybody in this party is supposed to pick a certain book from whatever religion that they, subscribe to. And while they pick the book that they do subscribe to, they are to chant something saying, I am my own God, as they pick up this book. So it's like, these are people who actually, and I'm pretty sure every last one of these people who chose a religion, I'm pretty sure they all participate in those religions, but they don't subscribe to it. They denounce the book. They denounce the religion they are with. They don't really believe in that religion, dog. And if you ask me, dog, all of this shit trickles down into the churches that we got out here today with all this religion. As you can see, all of these, it's a whole bunch of preachers, a whole bunch of people doing some fucked up shit that they finding out about. You know what I'm saying? Because these people aren't really for God, dog. Or at least the God that they claim that they serve and that they love. A lot of this shit is just pretend, dog. It's a front to make you believe what they want you to believe.
I whip my head around and I tell David I am absolutely not doing that. David whispered back in a joking tone like he always does. Dude, it's just a party. Who cares? I'll see you in the next room. And he skipped me.
See, as you can see, David not taking this shit seriously. And he might be taking it seriously. Matter of fact, he might be taking this seriously. Let me not speak too soon, because maybe David really was ready for this shit and he's trying to minimize everything to his friend so he can go ahead and get through with the party. Because I believe David want to get through this party, man. He want to get through this ritual. I think David knows it's a ritual. Basically, I can't even think of the words right now, but I can, shit get on my nerves. But anyways, I believe David knows this is a ritual to get him into a certain place, a certain position in his career, he feels, I guess. But
in line to show me that he'd do it first to make me feel more comfortable. He went through with it and giggled his way into the next room. It was my turn, so I tried to play it cool and whisper to the host, do you mind if I skip this part? It's making me a little bit uncomfortable. I thought he'd subtly break character and reassure me that this is just a party theme and it's all good. Instead, he whispered back to me in a really
right, because you would think like, okay, if this is really just a party theme and it's just something that we're doing for fun, right? And it's not really real, you know what I'm saying? You would think about if we could just tell you like, hey, well, look, bro, it's just a party. Come on, man. You ain't got to be tripping too hard. You know what I'm saying? You would think somebody would do that, right? Because that's what it is. But on the contrast, this is some real shit. You know what I'm saying? This party is some real demonic shit. Some real some real fucking, what's the word I'm looking fucking for?
Tone. Of course, man, don't worry about it. Just take your mask off and turn around. I was relieved for about a split second before the agent that invited me here grabbed my arm and started guiding me towards the exit. And I see that everybody that was behind me in line staring at me straight-faced. I look back at the host and he's standing up and loudly shouts like he's starting a chant. The price was not.
And you know what? I had a situation where people were just staring and looking at me, standing up straight, looking just with a straight face, just looking at me. I had a situation like that go down before. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. All of this shit sound like it definitely is true, because I could see it, man. I've seen this in my own life.
Paid. And then everybody is standing up and loudly shouts like he's starting a chant. The price was not paid. And then everybody in line that was staring at me chants in unison like they knew exactly what to do. Remove the profane. And they repeated over and over until I'm through the exit door. The price was not paid. Remove the profane. The price was not paid. Remove the profane.
The price was not paid. Remove the profane. So basically they gotta get him out of there, because he has not sold his soul. He didn't get to pay the price with his soul. See, this is the part where you pay to be in this group. You pay to be pulled into this here. And you pay with your soul. Like, so when you denouncing God and saying, oh, I am my own God, you are just paid for, this is a piece of your soul you're giving away, and you're going to see why they really started to pay. Cause see, that was just like the, what was that? That was just a deposit that they paid from the beginning. The real payment is what happens when you get in that room.
So the agent just walks me to the closest door. He doesn't even walk me to the front of the party and out the front door. He just puts me out into the backyard. It's 4 a.m. My friend's still inside. I don't have my phone. So I decide to walk around the right side of the house because that's where all of the party attendees were kind of headed. Let me see if I could peek in and maybe flag down David to let him know I got kicked out. And there's some windows to the next room. But of course these windows...
So he about to try and peep into the last room. It's the 6th room. The room that they had to pay a deposit fee to get into.
Are like big church stained glass windows, and you can't really see through stained glass windows like the colored ones, but if you go really close and you look through the white parts, you could kind of see clearly what is on the inside. And this room is like a bizarre church replica without all of the seating. It's just a big church-like room, and all of the people that were in there had their masks off, and it was like a big circle and almost looked like an initiation, and all of these celebrities are standing around in a circle around the other 9 new people. It was 10 excluding me, and there was big TV grade cameras recording, and it looked like the group of celebrities and everybody else that was there was kind of cheering them on. But then there was
9 people, well, 10, supposed to be 10 people, but it's 9, and they in a room with cameras.
Clearly people in there that were much more serious and kind of threatening, and the 10 new people were in the middle of this room being forced to do horrible things that I wish I could unsee. And the new people clearly didn't want to do these things. They were being forced to do these things, and they were clearly recording it. And I see my friend being forced to do these horrible things in front of these people and in front of these cameras. I just start panicking. I don't know what to do. So in my head, I'm like, I just need to get out of here. So I start speed walking to the front of the house, and I'm thinking I need to get out of this gate.
And as you can see, they forced them to do things. You know what those things is. The same thing that P. Diddy was recording people for, blackmailing them for. See, and this is how you sell your soul, bro. Because now you go against who you are. You go against your character. You go against the moral compass that you have. And you sell out. You sell out on your integrity. And do some things that you really aren't into doing. And it's just like, that's what this program is about in a lot of ways. It's like it tries to push things on you that you don't want. You know what I'm saying? Push things towards your face that you don't want. It's just, you're trying to get off of drugs. Now it's trying to push drugs in your face. Push people who, you know what I'm saying? All that shit, you know what I'm saying? And the forcing of things that they didn't want to do, guess what? Now you recorded doing something that you, as a person, as a character, now your character is being, you know what I'm saying? Now your character is being destroyed because of who you portrayed yourself to be before all of this. And now you're on camera. And so now your soul is sealed because they have control over you by recording the things that you go against. That's not even a part of your religion, your belief system, or none of that. So they got this on you now. You are control. You are not in control of your life anymore. Now your soul belongs to somebody else, and that's how this thing works, man.
There's only one street. We're on Laurel Canyon, so it's either I go left and start running towards Studio City, or I go right and start running towards West Hollywood. I'm not about to go knock on other people's doors. I'm just trying to get back to like civilization, and I'm trying to remember if we're closer to Studio City or if we're closer to West Hollywood. I don't even know. As I get to the front of the house, one of the employees is standing there, and he's standing in front of a car, and he has my phone. I'm not sure if he knows that I just saw everything, so I'm kind of standing there deer in headlights, but he just politely goes, "Here's your phone and here's your ride. Don't worry, the driver will take you home." So I take my phone and I sit in the car and I'm trying to gauge to see if this driver has any malicious intent, but he doesn't seem to. And within the first 3 minutes, I know that they don't think I saw anything. They were just getting my stuff prepared and my car prepared to take me home, because they're under the impression that I didn't see anything too bad and I got kicked out before any horrible things started happening to people inside of this party. So I get in the car and I'm checking my phone, and my phone was fully charged when I got here, so I don't know what they did, but my phone won't turn on. I have to sit through this 30-minute car ride. One of my best friends is back at this party getting mistreated and recorded doing horrible things, and I can't tell anybody. So I get through this 30-minute horrible suspense-filled car ride thinking about all of the people that were so nice to me inside of this party, and the whole intent of this party was to butter me up to get me to do these horrible things.
Yep. It's called grooming. That's how it is. It's grooming you to a certain point. You know, that's what Hollywood does, man. Hollywood is the biggest groomer. They love to groom motherfuckers, bro. They love to see that motherfucker that look so tough and look like so rough and like so manly. Like they love to see that motherfucker that look like that and seem like that turn into be something very opposite of it. Like, yeah, I put your manly ass through this shit. You know what I'm saying?
And when I finally get back to my apartment, I run upstairs, I plug my phone into the charger, and the first texts that come through are from my friend Joe. And I completely forgot that my friend Joe was coming to visit me. He was coming on a little mini vacation, and I was gonna play tour guide and show him around the city. So now,
and now after all of this didn't happen, and his mind is already the tailspin, he just realized his friend Joe was supposed to be meeting him, and he's supposed to tour guide him through the city. Just imagine trying to do something like that and trying to keep yourself together after going through what you've been through and how it has kind of traumatized you in a way. I'm pretty sure he struggled with that.
Now I'm thinking I only have like 4.5 hours to sleep before I have to go pick up my friend from the airport, and I still don't know if my other friend is okay. So I'm blowing up David's phone because he's still at this party, but I set a timer so I get to the airport to pick up my other friend. So I barely get any sleep. I drive to LAX to go pick up Joe, and I drive him back to my apartment, and when I'm coming back into my apartment, David's in the lobby and he's talking to some other big creators, like bouncing video ideas. It's like 9:30, 10 a.m. at this point, so we're just kind of having coffee by the cafe and chatting. I tell Joe to go upstairs to my apartment and drop off his luggage, and I go ask David if I could talk to him really quick. I'm clearly very distressed, and he's being very jokey with me, and he doesn't seem like anything bad happened, and he's just kind of making fun of me for getting kicked out of the party. I'm just letting him talk for a little bit, and I finally tell him I was looking in through the next window. I saw what they made him do, and I was just asking him if he's okay. And the second I said that, he immediately switched on me, and he started damn near cussing me out and saying friendship-ending things, and his eyes turned from happy and giddy to filled with almost fear and a little bit of betrayal when he
Damn. It's like the demons just come screaming out of that boy. Like he didn't got put through some shit, bro. And it's like, that's why I say, I don't know, man. I feel like his friend David, he knew what he was signing up for, and he just was willing to take it all the way. He was willing to take it to the end, you know what I'm saying? Take it as far as he felt he had to take it. I don't know, because that's like some narcissistic shit, bro. Like how a motherfucker just blow up on you. Have you ever caught a narcissist in their lie? And when you catch them in their lie, they get so pissed off and start trying to scream and holler and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's almost like they didn't. It's like they like planted a narcissistic spirit within. I don't know, man.
Stormed off, he pulled out his phone and he was calling somebody as if he was like reporting something back to them. I immediately start freaking out. I assume that he's telling them that I saw what they did. And now I have my friend upstairs who thinks he's just on vacation when I just saw.
And ain't that crazy now? Look, now he telling on his friend for telling that he knew what happened. You see what I'm saying? You see how fast that switch up of we was cool, we came here all the way from wherever we came from together to do this and come here and do this, and now guess what? You hate me. Matter of fact, you throwing me under the bus. You telling motherfucker shit. Damn. Like the change in the dynamic of the situation has just changed up so fast. That shit crazy.
Hyper successful rich people doing unspeakable acts, and they have all of the resources to come after me. And now I have my friend upstairs who thinks he's just on vacation when I just saw hyper successful rich people doing unspeakable acts, and they have all of the resources to come after me. They know where I live, and David isn't even on my side because the dirt that they have on him now. I have to pretend that everything's okay to Joe because he flew all the way out here for a vacation, and I don't even really know how bad the situation is. I don't even know how to tell him about everything that happened the night before. And I promised Joe that we were going to go to Runyon Canyon this morning. So he goes and changes into hiking gear, and I drive him over to Runyon Canyon. We do the hike for a few hours, and when we come back and I check my mail, there's another letter from these people, and I take it to the bathroom because I don't even want Joe to see it. And it's a screenshot of the surveillance footage of me looking in through the window and a little handwritten note, just a reminder of the worst mistake you've ever made. Curiosity killed the cat. And I start freaking out. I know that David just betrayed me and told them that I saw, and now they have proof that I saw.
On your
now
ass.
I'm just a walking liability to them, and now they're threatening me, and that was the worst mistake that I've ever made, and insinuating that curiosity killed the cat. I'm the cat, but it's still not enough to tell Joe about what happened. So I just go on with this charade, and I'm just playing tourist, bringing my friend around the city, and the first day nothing happened. And to this day, I firmly believe that the only reason they didn't do anything to me is because Joe was there with me that whole week, and he had just finished the police academy, and he was officially a police officer. So I think me being with him.
And if you ask me, the police department is entangled with this shit too. So I mean, shit, I can understand them letting you off the hook because you have a police officer in your presence. I'm just saying, I know that I'm not saying they all might be doing it, but I'm pretty sure they are entangled. You know what I'm saying? The police department is entangled with this shit.
Is the only thing that kept me safe because they weren't willing to do anything to a police officer. And I knew for sure they were keeping an eye on me the next day because Joe asked me the night before if I had half and half for our coffees the next morning, and I didn't have any half and half, and he just jokingly said, who has coffee and doesn't have half and half? It was a conversation in passing, it was a joke, and the next morning we woke up and there was a full half and half in my fridge. And the only reason I noticed that is because Joe said, thanks for running out early and grabbing half and half, you didn't have to do that.
I just realize that that's a coffee place or something, right? Half and half, because I mean we don't have half and halves out here. I guess that's a LA thing or something, or maybe a West thing. It definitely ain't down south.
Was kidding. I didn't go and grab that half and half. I knew that somebody was not only listening, but entered my apartment that night while we were sleeping. And then they started to do these things that only I would notice. Things.
That's what gang talk can do. You know that. Well, if you are truly targeted, and these people out here with all this loud ass music. But anyways, you know that though. I mean, look, I've had plenty of times where there were things that they would mess with that only I would know that they mess with it. Like my grease. Like I've had videos that shown motherfuckers when I had a grease, but had a whole thing of grease, and I only used a little bit of it. I barely used any of it because I haven't cut my hair for a long time. I had my hair just out wild for a long time, and I think this was around the times that I was kind of going in and out of my addiction phase. But yeah, I ain't cut my hair for a while, so I didn't use that much of the grease. But when I come back to the grease, that bitch, you can see the bottom of it. I'm like somebody scooped all the way to the bottom. I'm like, I never took a scoop like that out of that grease. You know what I'm saying? So I get exactly where he coming from with that.
that if you told anybody, they would look at you like you were crazy. Each night that we came home and we were just winding down and watching TV, I would go to turn my TV on and the remote control wouldn't work, and I would check the batteries, and the batteries would be switched from positive to negative and negative to positive. Like they came into my house and just flipped my batteries. I know that my remote control worked the day before, and they just needed me to know that they were in my house and flipped my batteries, just to let me know that they were invading my privacy on a daily basis. And then it started escalating to when I would take Joe to lunch, or we would pop to the grocery store, or we would go to the movies, and we would come back to the car and my left blinker would be on. They would just open my car and put it down, and every time we would come back to the car, my left turning signal would be on. It happened like 6 times. How can I tell anybody that somebody broke into my car and turned my left signal down? It's something that only I would notice, and I can't tell Joe because I'm not trying to scare him, and it's also something that I don't even think he would take seriously. He would probably say, you probably hit it down when you were stepping out of the car. And then things started to pick up. They started to do very specific things to me that weren't just by chance. We came home one day and I locked the door behind me like I was doing every time because I was super paranoid. My apartment door lock just locked swiftly. My apartment door lock doesn't lock swiftly. I would have to like press into it and jiggle it and force it to lock. And it's been like that since I moved in. And it had this sharp little nub on the front that I would feel with my thumb every single day. And one of the days we came home and it just smoothly locked. And the
ain't that some shit though? How they'll fix your shit just to fuck with your mind. You feel me? Like his shit didn't close right. It always had some little thing going on with it. But it closed smoothly this time. Like they fixed this shit just to fuck with his mind. Ain't that some shit, dog?
The nub wasn't there. So they were letting me know that I can't even lock them out. But how do I tell anybody that they're doing this to me? Because they would just say the apartment was probably aware of it and changed it. And I still wasn't able to tell Joe because I would think that he would come to the same conclusion. But then the next day, we go to the car to go to breakfast, and we get into my old car that I've had for 5 or 6 years at the time. And I grab my gear shifter and I go to pull it into reverse, and it smoothly goes from park to reverse. And my gear shifter doesn't smoothly go from park to reverse. You have to wiggle it in a certain way. You have to press the button with your thumb in a certain way to get it into reverse. I only know this because I drove this car every single day for 5 years, and this gear shifter is pretty much broken. It's an old car. And that morning I got into my car and it smoothly went from park to reverse, and the wooden finish on the gear shifter was different. Mine had scratches on it and this one was brand new. So they were telling me not only are they able to just break into my car and turn the left signal down, they're also willing to manipulate my car. Now I know for sure Joe isn't safe either, and me not telling him these things puts him into danger because I'm driving him around in this car. And if they could change my gear shifter, why wouldn't they be able to cut my brakes?
He's
so
smart.
I basically
He's smart
just break
as hell,
down, and I have to tell Joe everything from start to finish about this weird.
I ain't gonna lie. He be see, but that's what this shit make you do though. It make you think, dog. Sometimes it make you just think like, damn, but if I do this, I might do that, but if I do that, it might turn out like this. It makes your mind just start to brainstorm about all the shit that's going on around you. That's what's so crazy about it though.
Party with this weird agent and the little things that I've been noticing all week, and that this was the last straw. And Joe believed me because we used to drive around in my car together all of the time, and sometimes he would drive my car, and he made me promise that I did not get that fixed. The gear shifter was still broken yesterday and it's fixed today, and I didn't do that.
So he made you promise not to get the gear shifter fixed, and so that kind of like gives him a reason to believe you now.
That won him over, and he basically said time, and sometimes he would drive my car, and he made me promise that I did not get that fixed. The gear shifter was still broken yesterday and it's fixed today, and I didn't do that. So that won him over, and he basically said, we need to get out of here. It shook him too. He didn't like the idea of these people in the house.
But see, what's so good, dog, is, bro, at least you have the articulation skills to basically speak and get your point across good enough to somebody to where they would want to believe you. Because sometimes when you be going through these things, dog, it ain't nothing really you can say that's not going to make you look crazy. But because his friend knows his car and knows and has driven it himself, you know, it's easier for him to, you know, win his friend over with just the conversation of that whole situation that he was talking about. You feel me? That's a cool part. I mean, it's cool that you was able to do that. You feel me? I know damn sure well I couldn't.
house. When I told him I didn't get the half and half, when I told him all of these things that were adding up over the last couple days, it freaked him out. And he's like, bro, we got to go back to your apartment. We got to get your stuff. We got to get you out of here. Then my entire world is shattering. I moved out here and all of these things were going great for me. And I had a place and I had friends and I didn't want to leave. Maybe the stuff will die out. I'll be able to work with other people. It's going to be okay. I don't want to just leave my apartment.
It's just, see, and that's just something I believe God wants you to leave too, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes God need us to get away from places, dog. And you know, shit, LA definitely wasn't the place for you. You already seen what you ran into when you got there. So it already is enough to make you need to leave that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Especially once you start to get these things that's happening around you that people are trying to create for you and cause you to have all type of feelings within yourself.
Apartment, leave all my stuff. But Joe insisted that we went back to my apartment to grab his stuff and mine and then go stay at a motel before he leaves the next day. And when we got to my apartment, David was in the lobby with other creators by the cafe again, and I went up to him. I didn't really have any idea about what I was going to say to him. All he did was hand me a coffee, ignore everything that I said, and walk away. But then when I looked at the coffee, it had a little napkin wrapped around it. I saw that something was written in Sharpie on the napkin. It said, "I'm so sorry. You have to leave tomorrow with him. Otherwise, it's me and you." And I went upstairs and I packed a couple backpacks and I left LA the next morning with my friend and I never went back. Joe and I rushed out of that.
So y'all need to leave or else it's me and you. You know, instead of you going through this, now it's going to be both of us going through this. And it's like, yeah, his friend, it's too late for his friend. His friend already done sold this shit. He is not in control of himself anymore. That soul doesn't belong to him anymore. You know what I'm saying?
That city as fast as we could. I packed as much of my stuff as I could and we just started driving. We were both genuinely scared for our safety at that point. So we decided to skip Joe's scheduled flight and just drive to Las Vegas. And then we were just gonna fly home from there. There was something that just felt comforting about being out of the state. Not to mention Joe wanted a real briefing about what went down. Cause I had just basically told him the cliff notes and begged him to believe me so that we could pick up and leave as soon as possible. For the first 2 hours of the drive, we primarily kept our heads on a swivel and just made sure that we didn't take any wrong turns to further extend this trip. There were a few cars that made me feel like we were being followed, but it was just my paranoia enhancing an A-type personality driver into a stalker. Once we were out of California.
Well, sometimes that's the case. Sometimes your mind is playing tricks on you. Sometimes it's just smoke and mirrors. But sometimes it be true and you just make yourself believe that it's not happening. You gaslight yourself because you don't want it to be true. Sometimes you do that as well.
California state lines and into Nevada, we could both finally exhale. I felt real relief wash over me for the first time since I got kicked out of that party. We stopped about 15 minutes into Nevada at a pit stop. We used their Wi-Fi to book a hotel for Vegas that night, along with the plane tickets for the next morning. Once we had our escape plan fully booked, Joe just started laughing and I couldn't help but just start laughing too. We shared a lot of crazy stories growing up and we always seemed to find ourselves in sticky situations together. So it was just hilarious that his fun trip to visit me turned into this. It felt really good to laugh about it because it made me feel like it was finally over. We got back into the car to continue our drive and Joe playfully said, "So you have 1 hour to explain to me why we're fleeing Los Angeles over some half and half and a gear shifter before we get to Vegas and we make this trip worth it." I realized how bizarre this whole situation must have looked from his perspective. He flew in for a fun vacation and arrived to see his friend in a crisis. As I started to explain to him the series of events, things really started to click for me, especially with his input as a police officer. I'm gonna recap some of the events that I had already explained, but with the conclusions that we came to together. Clearly, the man that invited us to the party was a predator, and we were just perfect targets for him. We were young kids with enough of a following on socials to influence all of the other young creators in the area. We had just made a major change in our life by moving across the country, and we were completely isolated from our families who we could consult with about important decision making. And we were in a bad financial situation because at the time, just having a following on the internet didn't equal revenue. We were perfect targets to be indoctrined into a system where they could have full control over our budding careers. And apparently
Jake Paul
that's
probably
exactly
is a
what
part of
cult-like
that.
communities look for potential members. Not to mention, we were in LA trying to make a career in entertainment, and it seemed like they held the key to our dreams. As I was explaining to Joe the invitation and how it showed up to my house, we came to the conclusion that this guy approaching us at that party was not a coincidence. He had to have been scouting us prior to the time that I thought that we just met by chance. The party itself was a trap as well. When I finally had the chance to process what he said to me about the slow drip is better than a flood, flood, it really started to make sense.
Remember, the slow drip is better than a flood. Remember I told you to remember that?
Each room was designed to slowly introduce you into giving into temptation and sin. Everybody there being so nice and inviting was clearly on purpose. Seeing all of these people that you've looked up to for years indulging in these temptations of each room and inviting you to join in with them is perfect peer pressure. You don't want to let your idols down, so you voluntarily engage in an activity in each room that just gets progressively worse and worse. And of course they start with flirtiness and overeating delicious food. And of course spirits, because those things are so
yeah, overeating. It's like, so the spirit of gluttony, the spirit of greed, seems like, if you ask me, I was kind of trying to figure out what the hell could I say about that. I was just saying barbaric. But yeah, also, you know, shit, it's all type of ways you can kind of cut this thing, man. But yeah, it's crazy.
easy to give in.
Oh yeah. And as you see, the slow drip is what they're saying is like slowly grooming you, pushing you, and with the perfect peer pressure of your peers who are your idols, doing some of these things to kind of encourage you and, you know, peer pressure you into doing these things. Like, that's what's even crazy about it, because you love this person, you watch this person all through your childhood years, and because you see them doing it, oh, now you gonna do it. Now, see, and it's easy for a lot of motherfuckers to fall into that shit. Damn. It's like another way of energizing the thought or the decision of wanting to do that shit, because they probably wouldn't have did it otherwise. But now that they have somebody who they looked up to as a kid, or who is a idol to them, that they probably feel like doing this shit, it's like it just like I say, it charges up that decision to want to do it. And damn, that's crazy, bro.
But the temptations of the night keep getting worse as you go on. He wanted me to feel the slow drip, so when it was time to commit the heinous acts of the 6th room, it didn't feel like a flood. It's clear why they kicked me out when they did.
It didn't feel like a flood. See, that's what I say, guiding you, grooming you to that part. So now it doesn't feel like just too much for you, because you've already came so far. You know, that shit crazy.
Else had. And when it came to the time to defame my religion, it was the last straw. Most people, like myself, would think it was just part of the party theme. But to them...
But see, that lets you know if a motherfucker stand on their religion or not. Like, it's a lot of people that do not stand on their religion. They really just use that as a crutch to get around and shit like that, or to say certain things, you feel me? Like, they don't really stand on their religion, bro. A lot of people don't. But he obviously do.
It's the test to see if you're broken down enough to defame your religion for the fun of the party. That's why the 6th room was the flood. It was dramatically worse than the rooms that I had experienced. And the only way somebody would give into the peer pressure to do what they were doing in that room is them being primed to do so with everything that happened before, and had just spoken the words that they're not God-fearing. I realized that the people that would go to that party didn't just blow up overnight because of the power of that little cultish group. They scouted young creators like myself and David, who they believed were gonna blow up regardless of their help, and get them to commit heinous acts on camera. So when they did eventually blow up, they had the perfect blackmail on them to control them. They would try to get to you early, so before you were making money independently, so that they could control you. Because if you were already established and wealthy, why would you even care about going to a party like this? Yeah. You just don't care. It's too late for them to infiltrate your life. Do they help you with big collaborations? Yeah, but these collaborations are built off of fear and trauma. That's how they keep their group so tight. You can't get into this group unless you also do these horrible things. They kicked me out and
they gotta have something to have on your ass in case you feel like you want to go off and do some shit on your own that they don't want you to do. Now, see, like, they gotta have, it's all about control. Control. We want control over you. And if we get it, if you allow us to have it by selling your soul, and yeah, we will have it. But like he was saying, like, if you get too big before they come to you, and you get rich enough or have enough money to where you don't care about that shit, you know, what's the point in them? Like, they really can't get to you because you don't need them for shit. But like, when you're up and coming, they're like predators. They're predators, man. They try to come up to you before you get too big, because they already see the potential in you, and they see that you have a following, and now they're trying to snatch you up and make you feel like you need them, so they can take your soul and then control you after they do so, because now you get to push their agenda of what they want. Just like the rappers, man. It's just like the rappers.
Let me leave because they thought I actually didn't see anything too bad. From the outside perspective, I had just gone to a cool A-list party in a beautiful home filled with beautiful people and amazing food. I couldn't say anything bad about it publicly without sounding bitter that I got kicked out. That's how groups like this need to operate. From the outside looking in, it has to look amazing and wonderful to be a part of. From the inside, they need blackmail that's so bad on you that you can never speak out against it without getting your reputation destroyed. It made sense why they went after me the way they did. They need to do things to me that only I would notice, because they couldn't be seen openly harassing me. It would make them look bad.
Yep. It's like very slight things.
A door is opening for you.
So they had to infiltrate my privacy and scare me secretly. I still don't know how far they would have gone to get me to leave the city, if they would get violent or try to get me to fall victim to an accident. But they wanted to scare me out of the city. And I thought back to my very kind friend that warned me about this party and how secretive he was being about how much he knew about it. He couldn't just openly say how weird those people were, because it would make him a target. He just knew that if he kindly declined their offers and acted like he knew nothing about them, he could go about pursuing his career unbothered. And it really made sense why they would target potential big creators as well. Because if the kid with the most clout is a part of this group, and the only way to collaborate with him was to go through the same indoctrination, they would be able to control an entire generation of creators. To be honest, they're very good at what they do. There was a clear system that they followed, and the way that they approached harassing me out of the city, it was done at a professional level. Joe told me that it's called gang stalking, and that most of the time...
There you go. There you go. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? This is where his started. I don't know if he's still being gang stalked or not, but that really caught my eye when I heard that. I'm like, oh, your friend Joe told you gang stalking. That's why I say, man, I think the police department know, dog. They know about this shit. You know what I'm saying? They know about this shit. They entangled with this shit. His friend Joe the one that told him about it being called gang stalking. And he's just become a police officer. They all are informed on this shit, man. I know the police know. They all not trying to, I don't think all the police are pushing or following or just, riding this as hard as maybe some are. I don't think they all are. I don't think all of them are being so persistent or so involved in this, but I do believe a lot of them are, and I believe that their department knows about it and is a part of it as well. So, I just think those who choose to stay out of it, stay out of it. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. I don't know. But, yeah, it's crazy.
Time it actually isn't happening. And what I mean by Joe told me that it's called gang stalking, and that most of the time it actually isn't happening. And
see, there you go. Trying to make you believe trying to make you not believe what you've seen. That's what Joe doing to him. Joe trying to make him believe what he's saying. Well, can I get my words together? Maybe I need the motherfucker to speak slower. I know that's what I need to do. See, Joe is trying to get him to not believe what he's seen. By telling, that's what I feel. Joe trying to get him to, he trying to tell him that to not believe what he's seen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if it's called gang stalking and he knows about it, he obviously knows. But he trying to tell you, oh, it's not actually happening. Oh, what, is it a diagnosis? Let's go back and
professional level. Joe told me that it's called gang stalking, and that most of the time it actually isn't happening. And what I mean by that is most of the time that somebody reports that a crime like this is being committed, it's actually a paranoid schizophrenic having an episode. So they harass you in a way that even the police department would consider it a mental disorder opposed to gang stalking. Everything about the way these people operate is cold.
And that's why the police are involved, bro, because the police are the ones who really get you and committed into these damn facilities by saying, oh, this person is having a episode of schizophrenia and all that there. You know what I'm saying? And I believe, yeah, it might sound crazy to some of them, but I believe some of them already know what the fuck this is, and they gonna motherfucking make you look crazy anyway, because it's easy to do. It's built to make you look that way.
cult-like, and everything that they do is intentional. I was never even a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but my perspective on show business in Hollywood completely changed on the way to Vegas. All the dots connected, and I saw how truly evil some people in that industry actually are. And when I got to Vegas, I started to see how openly they show it. I know I've spent this whole time talking about how secret and exclusive this party was, and how everybody that knows about it has their lips zipped shut, but when we had arrived at our hotel near the strip, I started looking around at the big signs and promotions, and they really don't hide it. There was cultish symbolism in all of the music, live performances, and movie trailers. What used to look like just cool designs and eccentric artists was blatant symbolism for what was actually going on.
See? And that's the thing. Once you become awoken to a lot of this shit in the world, dog, now you don't even see the world the same. The world, you cannot unsee what you already saw. Once you see something a certain way, once you have awakened in a certain way, things are not going to be the same no more. You're not going to see nothing the same. His third eye has been lifted. That's why everything he see now, he see it in a different way. He see these motherfucking goddamn,
just cool designs and eccentric artists was blatant symbolism for what
symbols. Damn, I couldn't see what I'm saying. I couldn't even remember the symbols. Yeah, now the things that he's seeing now, or he's seeing symbols now that remind him of the demonic symbols that he probably didn't looked up and seen and found out for his damn self. But now it's like he's seeing all of this shit that is, he's seeing it here, he's seeing it there, he's seeing it everywhere now. So it's like now, it's like when he look at the world, it don't look the same. It's like a code in the Matrix. He sees the code now. You feel me? Like now, the code that he's looking at, it's just not numbers now. He see what the fuck that shit look like.
What was actually going on. I will never look at showbiz the same after that. I'm extremely happy being an independent artist, safe in the middle of the country, away from those cultish hedonists. I never received another letter or heard from David again, but what I can tell you is that everybody that was affiliated with that group became massively famous, but everybody involved fell as hard as they ascended and have had even more massive controversies. And to anybody pursuing a life in the arts or...
That's the contract. What's the clause? What's the clause in the contract, man? What's that, man? What we got up in there, man? What's this little part right here, man? That's that little part you didn't see, right? Yeah. Because it's usually, these contracts are made to fuck you in the end. Just made to look good from the beginning. That's how the devil works, bro.
Social media, do not fall into this trap. They will promise you everything that you've ever wanted, but they'll take it away whenever they please. And I promise you will hurt the people around you in the process. Welcome to the society. Guys, if you enjoyed this story and you want to watch more,
I am going to watch more, but ain't that some shit though? This is crazy right here, man. I was like kind of tripped out when I seen this. I was like, bro, ain't this a way to get introduced into a certain part of the world, a certain certain dark side of the world, a way to see things aren't as roses and butterflies as we thought it was. I mean, America knows how to paint a good picture to everybody else. They know how to paint a good picture to everybody who sleep. They know how to make everything look all fine and dandy, bro. They do, dog. They got that shit down keyed, down locked, man. But the thing is, bro, there's always something under that veil, man. It don't look like what you thought it was looking like. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, this here was kind of interesting, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to see another version of somebody. Like, and one thing I like about this dude right here, man, he has a gift, man. He has a gift for telling stories, for telling his story and remembering every piece of detail and remembering words verbatim. Like, bro, this motherfucker is just like he's like a fucking human recorder. Because he remembered all that shit. He spoke that shit like with no fuck ups. You know how much I fuck up when I talk, you know what I'm saying? You know how much shit I stumble over when I'm speaking, dog. I know I have that problem. But, you know what I'm saying, like I'm impressed by the way he's able to tell his story and have you engaged throughout the whole thing. This was a 31 minute video. I knew this one was gonna be a little longer, but yeah. But yeah, man, that shit's crazy, man. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this shit, man. Let me know what y'all think. We gonna watch part 2. They have a I wish I never went to this party, part 2. So we gonna watch that one as well. But I just wanted to let y'all see this one. This one he actually recorded this last year, so it wasn't too long since he started to speak about this shit. But yeah, man. So I'm gonna go and cut it short, man. You know what I'm saying? But look, I'll fucks with you later, man. Don't forget to like the video. You feel me? And I holla, peace.